Hello, my name is Derek from Tomcat Gas Training, and today's video we're on site for a change. And today we're going to be looking at changing two radiators. Now these radiators were installed by a builder, completely the wrong size for this room, and we're also going to be doing a towel rad which is in the bathroom. So let's have a closer look at the install before we get them ripped out and we get these new radiators in. Let's get on with it. So this is the first radiator in the bedroom. So we've got some lovely plastic pipe coming up into the radiators, which we can't do anything about because of the way the floor's been done. So the customer will still have to put up with that. But we're changing this single radiator for a double radiator to give the correct BTUs. So this is the tower radiator we're changing. Again, it's not quite big enough for what's needed. And again, got some lovely plastic pipe sticking through the wall, which I'm going to try and do something with. So that's when we put the new radiator in. So that's the other thing we're changing. Now before we do anything, we need to drain the heating system down. He hasn't put any drain points on that, and I do know it is the lowest point. So what we're going to have to do is drain it down here. The first thing is we turn the boiler off on its stat, and we turn the power off to the boiler. The customer knows they're going to have no hot water and heating while we're doing this. Let's get the drains on, let's get it drained. So we've got the hose connected. We just literally need to go onto there. You can hear the water running out. Next thing is we need to open the bleeds and allow the air in upstairs. We don't have to bleed downstairs because they're on droppers. Let's go get the rest done. So we're down to a trickle, so I can start draining this radiators down now in the bedroom. Now I'm just going to open the bleed and see if it's actually sucking any air in. No, it's not. So this radiator is completely full of water because of the way it's been piped in. So I've got my little tub and a bucket, and I'm going to have to drain it now to get rid of all the water. Okay, so let's get on with draining it. Take the top off so we don't damage that. I'm just going to hold against. Try and undo this. There we go. So now I should be able to start allowing the water to drain into the bowl. This may take a while. Now we're drained, we're all done. Okay, now first thing is no movement in the pipes whatsoever. We've got movement this way because it's plastic, but we've got no movement up or down on either pipe. Okay, so that's one thing. So we're going to have to be careful now when I'm marking out for the brackets that I get the height bang on. Otherwise it's going to proper mess me up. So I'll show you how to do that. So I need to get these brackets off now and get the new brackets marked up and done. So this is a radiator I'm fitting. So I've taken out a single radiator, single convector. I'm now putting in a double radiator, single convector. because the customer didn't want it sticking out of the wall too far. So, and the fins on the back she thought might stick it out too far. So let's get it unpacked so you can have a look at it more closely. Now when you're unpacking a radiator, you don't want to be scouring down the actual radiator, especially the front side. This is the back because this is where the actual brackets are. What I always do is just go down the bottom, because this is the bottom, just to so you can take the protective bubble wrap off. This is the air vent and the bolts for securing it to the wall, which we probably won't use, and some little plastic spacers, which I'll show you what they do. That's the two brackets, and this should pull out. So you can now see there's a fancy grill on the top to stop stuff falling down it. If we spin it around, you can now see where the brackets clip on. The brackets will go on like that. Okay. You can see there's two sides to the bracket. There's a small bracket and quite a larger one, and that's so you can bring it right off the wall if you like. We're going to be using the closest one, so this small one here. So that's what's going to be attached to the radiator, and the bigger end will go flat against the wall. So we need to get the bleeds in, we need to get the valves in, or the tails for the valves in. So let's get on with that. Now this is what was in the little packet. So we've got a bleed for the radiator and we've got a plug. There is a little O-ring on there, so there's no need to put PTFE on them. Now I always put the bleed on the right hand side of the radiator, and I always put my plug on the left. The reason why I do that is most people are right-handed. Well, they're not supposed to be 50-50, but anyway, I always do that. I always put my return on the left hand side and my flow on the right, because you're supposed to it'll fill up through the return. It doesn't really matter on this boiler nowadays because it's a sealed system, but that's just the way I do it, so it doesn't really matter which way round you put it. Makes no odds whatsoever. So the other thing I always look at as well is access. So there's going to be a bed where we are now, so there's better access at this end than there is at that end, so that's why I'm putting the bleed to the right hand side. Okay, so I'm putting the plug in that one, and I'll put the bleed in this one. So because there's a rubber O-ring in here, we don't have to completely raunge it, but we also don't want it to leak. So just nipping it up is good enough. Now what I've done here is I've placed the radiator against the wall where it's going, and what I've done is I've placed the tails to the base of the pipes. Now if I was fitting this and then installing the pipework, I'd always put it in the centre of the wall, but we're governed by where the pipes already are. So I've put the tails onto the rad, I've put the rad so the tails are touching the pipe, so I know that's roughly where this radiator is going to go. Now the brackets do allow you to slide the radiator slightly to the left or to the right if you put them in the middle, so we're going to be putting them in the middle of the brackets. Okay, well the brackets on the rad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my pencil and I'm going to mark the centre of where the brackets are on the radiator, and now I'm going to plumb the line up, and that's where I know where my bracket needs to be attached to the wall. Is it green? Look on this side. Now the next part's the tricky bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the carpet to the centre of the valve, and I'm going to put that mark on the wall, okay, where the bracket is. I'm going to check on both sides and make sure it's level, because I haven't got any play whatsoever in the height. Now at least they've both come out the same height, so from the carpet to the centre of the valve is 160mm. Don't ask the customer for a pencil because they give you a crayon. Okay, so that's the first part. Let's have a look at the rad. Now I know this is the centre of the actual valve here, which is actually here where the bracket's going. So what I need to do now is I need to put the bracket in, and I need to measure from the back of the bracket to the bottom of the bracket to this mark here. Once I've got that measurement, I can transfer that on the wall, which will then give the bottom of the bracket where it needs to be. So I have 20mm. Okay, so I need to come off the line I've just drawn up 20mm for the bottom of my bracket. So now I can transfer this 20mm from there up, and then the bottom of the bracket will be in the right place. Now this is where I can cheat a little bit as well. I'm going to place the bracket onto the mark, plumb it up with the line I've done. Now on the bracket there are 2 slides and 2 fixed points. So I'm going to mark the slides where they are. And one of the original screw holes has come right in where the slide is. And then it allows me then to make some slight adjustments if I need to. And then I can use the fixed holes then to fix it in position for me. So that's a little tip. Use the slides first if you're in a fixed position. If you're piping it up, you don't need to. You can use the fixed holes once you've got it leveled. So this is just going to aid me now to retrofit this rad. Now, fingers crossed, put the rad on. Let's see if the pipes match up. Perfect on that side and perfect on that side. So I can take the rad back off now, fix through my fixed holes so it doesn't slide up and down. First of all, let's check and see if it's level. That's always a good idea. Well, it's level. That's a good sign. Okay, bang on level. So let's get these fixed screw holes done and then we can sign her up. So we've got it all fixed in position now. It's all pretty sturdy. It's like a ply wall behind here, so that the builder did something good. So these little white things are important, and what they do is they clip on to the radiator. So they slide down like that. Okay. And what these tiny little white things do is stop the radiator ticking when it's warming up. Well, that's what they're supposed to do anyway. And it also keeps it firm to the wall and stops the radiator rattling. So don't forget to put your little white things on. And that's the radiator done. Not a million miles out. It looks right and it matches up with the pipe we had before. Not happy about plastic pipe coming up to rads, but it did come in handy in this situation. So, on to the bathroom. Now I've got the same thing to do with this one. Got to get it drained first and get it off the wall. Most of the water should have gone now, so it's just a matter of cracking it open. I'm going to shut these valves just in case, but it's virtually drained. It just needs to get it off the wall. So let's get it off the wall, get the other one unpacked, and let's get on with it. Now, one of the things I found when I took the tails off the old radiator is the O-ring, the olive was only just hanging on that one. It should be down there like that one, not hanging on the end. Could have leaked at any time. So always be careful you go full socket before you tighten your olives on. Now, what I've done with this one is I've centralised it as best I can with these plastic pipes sticking out the wall. So I've connected them on to the valves, so I've tightened them back in. I've put the inner slide clips in position. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to level up the radiator down the side and across the top. Then I'm going to mark where each bracket comes. Then I'm going to screw these into the wall. So they screw into the wall. Then these inner brackets, what I've put on, slide into that. And it should be in the bang on right position I need. Hopefully. Last thing I've got to do now is put the bleeds in. So I'm going to put the plug in that side because it's easier to bleed it on this side. Again, no need to over tighten them. There's an O-ring in there. So all I've got left to do now is tighten up underneath, fill up, check for any leaks. And as you can see, we're all now complete. So we just need to get this rad bled and get the heating back on. Now, just got this last radiator to bleed. This is the highest one. I've done the one in there. And the little spout is pointing towards me here. So I know it's not going to go against the wall. So I'm just letting the air out. Once I get a good flow, I'll turn it off. I knew that were happening. Right in the kisser. Better going on me than on the customer's wall. So that's all the radiators filled now. I'll check for leaks. Doesn't seem to be any so far. And get the boiler on and get it all hot. Let's get on with it. And we're finished. So lovely and toasty now. And customer's very happy. So, if you've liked this video, why don't you give us a thumbs up or leave a constructive comment down below. If you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, then get subscribing. And don't forget to hit that notification bell because we put out new videos every Wednesday. All I've got left to say is, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Tune in next Wednesday for another fantastic video. Cheers guys.